morning, everybody. Happy Monday and welcome to a new week at school. I'm not sure, my head always appears to be in the way of what's written in the background, but the screen at the back says, in a world where you can be anything, be kind. And that is absolutely vital. That's what we're going to talk about in assembly this morning. It's about the way we speak to people and the way we talk to one another in school and out of school. As I'm going around the corridors, it's lovely to hear people say, "Good morning, Mrs. Darwin," or, you know, "Have a nice day, Mrs. Darwin." And, you know, I hear people saying things like that to other teachers, and that's lovely, and that's showing respect, and it's very nice. I also hear some things as I'm going around school that are not quite so nice and not quite so kind. So let me just think how I'm going to start this off. I wonder how many of you have either expecting to fly in an aeroplane when you go on holiday next year, or how many of you have actually flown in an aeroplane. So if you think about that, when you take off and when you land, it's crucial that the air crew can communicate with the air traffic control people. Otherwise, aeroplanes wouldn't be able to travel because they wouldn't know where they were going. It's really important to speak clearly to avoid any confusion and to prevent accidents. So while the aeroplane's flying, its crew are in constant communication with air traffic control in order to keep them safe and have a smooth flight. So today's assembly, where it's looking at what we're talking about and how it can affect us and all of those around us. Most of us have heard the saying, "You are what you eat." What we're going to do is to change that a little bit round and say, "You are what you say," because what you say very often tells other people what you're like as a person. So, for example, if we tell lies, then it shows that we are untrustworthy. If we say one thing to one person and they say something different to another person, it shows we're a little bit two-faced. That means you can't be trusted. So sometimes we find that our tongues have a little bit of a life of their own and they get out of control a little bit. And some people find it very tempting to gossip about other people and say, you know, unkind things sometimes. There is a famous saying, which the older ones amongst us might get. Eleanor Roosevelt once said, "Great minds discuss ideas." So clever people talk about ideas. Average minds discuss events, things that are happening or have happened. Small minds discuss people. Have a think about that one. We all know how tempting it is to say things to impress other people. So I've heard people on the playground who swear or who are unkind to somebody else just to make somebody else like them. Sad, really, isn't it? It's also very difficult sometimes to control angry words when we're feeling very cross. But we all need to remember that we are what we say. Wherever we are and whoever we're with, we should always try to control our tongues and say the right thing. When we're tempted to use angry words, to lie, to gossip, we must try to look for the best in people. Speak kind words and give praise and encouragement instead of criticism. Okay, trying to look for the best in people, to say nice things. I wonder if we had to think, I'm going to ask you a few questions, and I just want you to think in your own mind to yourself. How much do you support people with your words? How much do you make them feel good about themselves? Are you an encourager? Do you help people to make the best of themselves? Or are you a discourager? Do you make people feel bad about themselves? Do you help to lift people up and make them feel great? Or to make people feel down and unhappy about themselves? Do we nag or do we brag? It's an interesting one, isn't it? Are we always moaning at people? Or are we bragging about how wonderful we are? Imagine if God held a contest and said, I'm going to give you £1 for every kind word you've said over the last year, but I'm going to take £1 away for every bad or unkind word you've said. Oh, would you be rich or would you be poor? That's an interesting one, isn't it? Okay. So I'm going to show you a little video now. And again, I'm going to share my screen. So I think there's a little button at the bottom for the sounds that you click on. Hopefully this time. Let me see. Right. So I'm going to share my screen with this one. Hopefully you can see that. This is a really nice, it's just literally words coming up on the screen and someone telling us what they say, but it is so lovely. Okay, just sit back and have a listen. Oh, okay. Lovely words, lovely words. I hope that some of that you will remember, that how important it is to be kind to one another. So Friday's certificate this week will be for somebody who helps other people to feel better about themselves. Sometimes when you see someone feeling down, you know, go across and say something nice to them. That's what might make their whole day better. And that will leave you feeling so good inside. Don't bother if somebody else says, you know, if someone else is not very kind, you don't have to follow them. Only sheep follow each other. You don't have to be a sheep. Stand up for yourself. Know what's right. Do what's right. And in a world where you can be anything, Earlham Primary School, be kind. Have a lovely week.